All right, good evening, guys. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. All right. So we are at the end of the journey that seemed as if it was so long, 8 week, and it looks as if we shouldn't stop anymore. So, but we are here now. So, all thanks to God. Wow. All right. I'll just be taking some few revisions since we'll be having our exam and project. Actually, I've submitted your project question, and I've also submitted the exam question. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Jeremiah, Oluchi, Bola Dale, Black Box, Isaac, Matthew, Kingsley. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. So it's just what we've done before. We'll just do a quick glance. Then after that, then we can ask questions. Not to worry anyway, your questions are multiple choice. So, and there are things that you are familiar with, things we've done. So without wasting more time, let's just go on to the class. So you remember when we started with NumPy. So what I've done is I've done a compressed version of my slides. So everything we did during my session, we'll just run through them this evening, then we'll go on. So we talked about NumPy. When we were talking about NumPy, we said NumPy is what? A library for scientific computing. When we spoke about usage for numerical computation, supporting a large multidimensional arrays and matrices, then it's an high-level mathematical function. So anytime you want to carry out any mathematical function or mathematical operation, let's use that word, either statistical, arithmetic, bitwise, matrix, linear, broadcasting, remember that the library you need to call is the NumPy library. All right, then we spoke about how to install NumPy. By now, I believe that everyone should be able to install NumPy using the catchphrase or the command pip install NumPy. Pip install NumPy. And we also spoke about knowing the version of your NumPy and things like that. So these are things we are familiar with. So I'll just run through them. If there are questions, just drop them on the comment box, then we'll treat them at the end of this. So we spoke about arrays, where I spoke about elements. These are elements. These are indices in the elements. We spoke about the positive and the negative indexing. I told you from the left to your right is what? Is your positive indexing. Then from your right to your left is your negative indexing. Then how do you know the length of an array? I told you, I said when you're counting in computing or in machine learning or in AI, we don't start counting from 1 unless it's a negative. So you're counting positive, you start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we ask what is the length of this array, so this 0 stands as 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the length of our array is 6. All right. Then what are NumPy arrays? So they are sequential collection of elements of the same data type arranged linearly. You know, I told you it must always be the same data type. You cannot mix integer with character or character with a float or whatever. It has to be what? It has to be the same data type. Then there are fundamental data structures for storing and manipulating homogeneous data. When we talk about homogeneous data, meaning that all elements must be of the same data type, either integers alone, floating points alone, or characters alone. The example I gave you is for characters alone. So you have your E, B, A, B, C, D. And if it was for a number that is integer, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then for a floating number, we have like 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5. Just refreshing our memory. And we have this NumPy and Python lists. So I'll skip over this. By now, I think, yeah, good to have you here to Stephen. Good to have everybody here. Good to be back. All right, then how do we create a NumPy array? So we can import what NumPy and create arrays using what? The NumPy.array. So if we import our NumPy and give it an alias np, we can say the array is equal to what? An np.array 1, 2, 3, which we practiced. If you remember, I explained to us that when we import, we are importing the library NumPy, giving it an alias np. Your ARR is a variable name where we are going to store our what? Our NumPy.array. And our NumPy.array creates an array list with element of what? 1, 2, 3. Then our 1, 2, 3 is a Python list or an or what? Or a structure of integers that has been passed what into the NumPy array to convert it to what? To a NumPy. All right. Then we looked at other NumPy operators like the array.sum. When you say it returns all the sum of elements, if you remember, when you say print array.sum, it does what? It adds 1 plus 2 plus 3, which will give us what? 6. All right. Then we add the mean. The mean returns the mean. So when you import your array with the alias np, then you give it a variable name called ARR, and you say np.array, these are your elements. Then you print array.mean. You are telling it that what? It should create an array of the mean with this number. So if you do that, what is the mean of this number? It means that we add together 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, divided by 3, 1, 2, 3. So it gives us what? It gives us 2. So the mean is 2. All right, then we have standard deviation also, which returns the standard deviation, which is called array.std. So these are things you will find in your exam questions. Things like that. What does arr.std stand for? So you can see it returns standard deviation. You will see some other options like that. So there are multiple choice questions. I think about 50 questions or thereabout. So there are things we've spoken about. There are things you are so conversant with. All right. So I'm expecting that nobody will score below 40% anyway. That is 40 over 50. Nobody will score below 40 over 50. So that should be about nobody should score below 70% in the exam. I believe so. Once we have actually mentioned this, then you've been able to practicalize that during your session with Mr. Blessing. So let's go on. Then you have your cumulative sum. You can remember our cumulative sum when we import the array, and we cumulate our cumulative sum. So you have a 0 to 1, then 1 plus 2 to 3, 2 plus so like that. Area of concentration. No area of concentration. I'll just be talking Isaac. No area of concentration. Okay, area of concentration, all your 24 slides. Area of concentration, all your 24 slides. So are the project questions different from the MM models we are going to present? Don't worry, I'll talk about your project before I end the class. So let's just go on so that we can meet up. All right. Then we talked about sorting. When you say sort, you can see we'll be given the element when it says sort. So it sorts the array in order of what? Ascending order or descending order. If you say, but this will just basically sort and put them in the proper way. I keep wondering how the test for Mr. Blessing's class will be. It is well. So this will arrange it in 2, 3, and 5 when you sort the arrays. Okay, then we have the array.shape. So we say what? It returns the dimension of the array into what? Rows and columns. You can see that this is just a parallel. So by the time you say return array dot shape, it changes the shape. When with the questions for project, I think that's left for admin. Just keep on make sure that you are how would I call it? You are always present on your LMS. So I think admin will let you know when it's time for that. So this converts the shape and changes it to what? Rows and columns. These are things we've spoken about. Then this we talk about the array type. Well, it returns the data type of the array element. If I ask you now, what is the data type? Who can tell me what the data type is? If it returns the data type of the array element. Just one person, then we'll move on. Integer, thank you, Lillian. Linear, it is an integer. That is the data type. Fantastic. So we need to be very careful with what's it called? Our terminologies. Even though you said list and numeric, I told you about the 3 data types: the integer, the float, and the character. So be very sure. These are things you will see in your exam. And I'm so you just see list there. Those of you that said list will just pick list. And you come back and appear to Mr. Olajide in his dream that you pick list, whereas the answer is an integer. So let's be conversant with those. Then you can see transpose. So it changes the axis of the array into simpler. It flips the row for what? For column. That's all it does here. It transposes. When you say transpose, you change the form. Right? So these are things I'll be expecting to see in your project questions and things like that when you are giving your project documentation and things. So please, let's just go back and I just wanted us to just go through. We have about 140 something slides, so but I'll just run through them so that I will refresh our memory. Then we have questions, we can ask questions. All right, then we say what? NumPy is a powerful library for efficient numerical computation. Then we know that it's used in conjunction with Pandas, your matplotlib, your scikit-learn, and essential for scientific computing. Right. Ineoluwa praise. Please don't forget to. All right, great. So I know we all know what your matplotlib does now. Exactly. Can 2 people just tell me what you use your matplotlib to do? Your library they call the matplotlib. What do you use it to do? Quickly as I go on. Just 2 people. Your matplotlib library, what does it do? All right. Then from there we moved into our Panda. Okay, Seaborn as well. Okay, so Seaborn and matplotlib. Okay, what do they do? For visualization? Fantastic. Charles and Gretel, Boluwati Fairlide, great, Anye, Yetunde. That's great. Prof, it's not for data standardization. No? Visualization. Anthony, thank you, Joshua. So we now looked at Panda. When we talked about Panda, we say what? Panda is a very fast, flexible, powerful, and easy to use open source data analysis and what? Manipulation tool. You can find a question like Panda is dash. Then the option is there. Is it a manipulation tool? Is it a mathematical tool or something like that? So we talked about Panda. Panda is good for what? Data manipulation. Then the same way we install our NumPy is the same way we install our Pandas. Then you also check. So don't forget, pip install Pandas. By now, we should be able to install a lot of libraries using what? The command pip. All right. Then I said, what are Pandas series? So it's a one-dimensional labeled array capable of holding any data type. It could be integers, it could be strings, it could be floats, it could be Python list or objects. It is just similar to what? A column in an Excel sheet or a single column in a data frame. So look at the basic creating a series. All right. So these are things I think you should go back and check again. Go back to your practical, try them out again. All right. Then how do you create a series? I said you can create a series from a list. You can create from a dictionary, or you can use what you call your custom indexing. Your custom indexing. It's indexing. I believe by now there's a link that has been shared where you find all your slides. There's a link that we actually dropped for admin where we have all slides, all practicals, and some other useful Python libraries and notes that you would actually help you out. All right. Then what are Panda data frame? So Panda data frame is a two-dimensional tabular data structure. So it's just like your Excel sheet where you have your row and columns. Basically like a spreadsheet. It is built on top of what a Panda series, exactly. Where each column is a series. You know, we say Panda series is a column. And when you have a data frame, you now have rows and columns. All right, so it's built from what your Panda series. So look at something like this. So creating what? A data frame from a dictionary. I've given you name, Alice, Bob, and Charlie. I've given you age, 24, 27, 22. I've given you a score of 85, 92. So what it does is that it converts this to a table, picks the name, and first starts with a serial number. You have the 01, then arrange the name, matches Alice to 24, her score is 85, picks Bob to age 27, his score is 90, then Charlie, age 22, his score is 78. So you can see that now you have your rows, your rows and columns. So you can see that's how to create a data frame. So you can also create from a list, whichever way you are given, as long as you run the code very well, you will always get the same answer. Then what are some data frame basic operation? If you remember, for those of us now that are conversant, you know your df.head and your df.tail. You know, you want to view the first few rows of your data set, or the last 5 rows of your data set. Then you have your shape, you have your df.column, you have your info, you have describe. You want to look at the statistic for your numeric columns. So these are operations that are really needed when you are doing your projects. All right, then how do you access some data columns? You can call the name, you can call the score and the name. All right, you can also access location. At what location? Is it 0 or what? Is it by position? So these are things that I expect us to have tried out. All right, then you can modify your data. You can look for where past is, and then you can say, okay, where the score is greater than 8, you can add a new score to say score greater than 8, you add a new column. Or you want to add +5 to everybody's score, then you can update values. Then we spoke about data cleaning, which is very crucial when we have to do when we are working on a data analysis or machine learning project. Now I said the way you give your model your data is the same way you will get your output. When we talk about the principle of your garbage in and your garbage out. If your data is not clean, your result won't be accurate or reliable. And if your data is properly clean, then your result will be accurate and then reliable. So we talked about some data cleaning processes. You first load, before you can clean your data, you need to first load the data set. Then you can inspect using your df.add, things like that. Info, you want to check the data type, or if they are null, you want to describe. And also understand your structure, your columns or the shape. All right, I believe admin will put the slides in. These are slides that you have. I just compiled all slides that we've done during my section together. So please don't bother yourself about this slide is not on your LMS. Let's focus on what we are working on. All these slides are things that we've done. I just took everything and merged them together for my own sections. So we all have all these slides. All right. So we talked about handling missing values, which I know you guys did with Mr. Blessing, looking for null values. Thank you, Yetunde. Thank you. You want to drop missing values, you want to fill missing values, or you want to, with either a constant or with a main, you want to remove duplicates, or you want to fix data types. So these are things that we've practicalized. Just bringing them back to our memory. Then we talked about standardizing columns, replacing inconsistent or consistent values. Then we're applying transformations. Yes. We want to change where we have name and add title to the name also. Or want to extract a particular year, extracting the year and the dates. So we want to extract year from date, or capitalize strings and things like that. So these are little things that we spoke about. Then we did some other things like removing or filtering out invalid rows. We spoke about normalization when we talked about the min max scalar and the standard scalar. Then how to save your clean data set and things like that. All right. So we just said offering intuitive structures like series, and we're talking about your Panda, and it provides efficient tools for data cleaning, transformation, exploration, and integration with other data science library. Then I said mastering Panda is essential for performing real-world data analysis and preparing data for machine learning and deriving your actionable insights. All right. Then we spoke about a function. What is a function? Well, I told us, I say a function is a block of organized, reusable code used to perform a single action. These are things that we will be assessing when you are working on your projects. You see your ability to create functions. I told you when you create a function, you can reuse them in several places in your codes. So these are things we'll be scoring your what's it called? Your project. I think I put everything there, what I'll be looking at for your project, and what are the matrices in using in scoring you. So I put a very detailed what's it called, explanation of what we need you to do. Then what I did was that because of everyone, instead of streamlining our project, I put 3 different projects, so you can choose one out of the 3 different projects and do. So I think we have for health, we have for finance, and I can't remember, I think the last one is the agriculture or something. So you can pick one out of the 3 projects and decide on whichever one you want to use and follow the instructions and everything. So these are things that we'll be expecting from us. Then on Friday, Mr. Blessing will explain further on how he wants your project to appear. Because most of your submission will be done on your cargo. So, I've told us, use your cargo, get used to cargo. So you won't be able to submit. You have to go and do your project, know how you upload it on cargo, follow all necessary information. Very simple. Very simple. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you very much. Then I said, what is a function? When you see your def means to define. It's telling your Python, hey, I'm about to define a function. Then when you have the function name, the name you choose for the function, it should describe what the function does. Then inside that bracket that follows the function name is your parameter, which is a placeholder for the data the function will use. And the column tells you that what the function body starts next, or just like starting a new paragraph. So, and I told us, I said, think of a function like a blender, where your parameter is the ingredient you put in it. Your arguments are the actual fruits, like your banana, strawberries, and you add. Then your return or your output is what? The smoothie you get out of here. You get out of your function. All right. Then we looked at the real world example using the dev grid. Every one of us should remember this. We say dev grid name. Then we say print hello name. Immediately we'll put edit in that name. Anyone that comes in and puts his or her name where you have this name here and you call the greet, it will automatically what? Give and greet the person and says, hello editor, hello Abibola, hello Charles, hello Yetunde, Chinwe, Isaac and Co. So why use a function? I say functions helps us to break programs into smaller modularity. In fact, that's one of the things I'll be looking at in your project. Modularity. Modular parts, making your code more organized and reusable. So you organize your code better, you avoid repetition. So the DRY, who can remember what I call the DRY principle? Who can remember what the DRY principle means, the DRY principle? Just 2 persons, then we'll go on. DRY principle, quickly. Thank you, Fisayo. Thank you, Bolu Atife. Fantastic. Don't repeat yourself. Exactly. Don't repeat yourself. Then using functions enhances your readability and maintenance. Then it facilitates what? Code reuse. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. Don't repeat yourself. All right, Light. Good to see you. So, which I gave us some other function properties. Calling a function, we spoke about how to call a function, which executes the code inside using the provided arguments. Then we talked about some function parameters and arguments. Thank you, everyone. Praise, Adair, me, Williams. You guys are all correct. Then we talked about the return statement. Anytime you call the return statement, it gives you what? Your output. Then we spoke about your default parameter. Instead of when we use the dev greet name, now we have set a default saying what? Equals to guest. So immediately anybody comes in, it just says hello guest. It doesn't ask you to input your name or not. All right. And we spoke about keyword arguments. I say allows passing argument using parameter names during function calls. Yes. So things like that. Then what are the best practices for writing function? I told us keep your function small and focused. Use meaningful names. Don't use ambiguous names that you won't remember. When I mean add doc strings and comments, all these comments. In fact, those are the things I will look like in your code also. Are you commenting? Do you know what a line of code is doing or a block of code is doing? So that if a layman or somebody who is not an AI or ML specialist comes in, then can you undo the errors properly? So things like that will be seen in your code. So, and please, I will advise us. I know Mr. Blessing has been teaching us how to use ChatGPT. Please don't go and generate all your codes from ChatGPT. I will know. I won't bother grading your that work. Please put your hand on your keyboard and do some dirty works. It's always good. It's always fantastic. All right, then we look at list comprehension, like an iteration. We say what we want to iterate. Say what for X number in this, that, give me in this range. So these are things that I should see in your code also. These are things that should come up in your codes. Exactly. Joshua is laughing. It's true. I'm going to generate a ChatGPT for me. I will know. I won't grade it. I'll just leave it and tell DSA and Incubator generated from ChatGPT. All right. We talked about the difference between comprehension and loops. Why do we prefer loops to this comprehension and things like that? Then I spoke about you writing reusable code. In fact, that was why we thought also about functions. We want you to use reusable codes. Code written to be used multiple times. All right, it is well, Dari. It is very well, even inside the well. You guys will be fine. I trust you guys will do fantastic. So we talked about because we don't want to start writing codes multiple times. Or sorry, we want to, without rewriting them, we want to use the code multiple times. So you're always saying it is fantastic. Yes, it's fantastic. You guys will do fantastic. I'm telling you. It's It's not. If I could do it, then anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. I was coming from a web design background, so if I could do this, then you can do it. Yeah, you'll be fine, Isaac. Duru, you'll be fine. Everybody will be fine. You'll be fine. So we maintain consistency and save time. So I want to see you use functions. Define your functions for your data. Define your functions for bringing in your model. Define your functions for your training, for your what's it called? For your plotting of graphs and things, so that you just call them. You don't need to write 500 pages of codes. So good. Then I said principles for creating reusable codes. You guys know what the DRY means now. You want to use code instead of duplicating. We can keep on using and using. And I told us use what? Modular programming. I'm also going to be assessing creativity. So I'll be seeing creativity. I want to see what you guys are doing. How many of you will do modular? This modular that I taught you using the .py. Fine. It's not a must, please. So you don't go and scatter your codes. And it says Mr. Olajide that said that. But if you can do that, it'll be fantastic. I just want to see creativity. I want to see how how you arrange your codes, how you break them down into blocks and things like that. So it's going to be wonderful. I want to see things. This is time I've been waiting for. I just finished the competition about 2 days ago, and I saw codes. I was impressed. I think about how many groups I was opportune to be the lead judge. So about 15. We had to pick 3. It was a bit difficult, but there was one group that just stood out. Fantastic. So it's always like that. You get yourself around it. Okay, then we talked about importing modules. Exactly. It's not every time you need to create your. Yes, it was an hackathon, but it was an hackathon at Redeemers University. I think after your project and everything, then I think they will pick the best. I don't know how many they are going to pick for the hackathon. Yes, thank you, Stephen. It's going to be wonderful and fantastic. Yeah. So most of the times, if you don't want to repeat yourself, you can use what already inbuilt codes that allows you to reuse. Maybe you import math anywhere you get on your code or block. You can print square roots. You can do your division, addition, and it was data science. It was a data science hackathon. You were to build any kind of models, but basically health models. I saw things yesterday, 2 days ago. It was fantastic. I was inspired by people. So somebody built a model for blind people. For blind people, that tells them I've seen accessibility models, but this guy's model was fantastic. What's their name again? Team Nova. They were crazy guys. Whereby the person who is what's it called? Visually impaired. So we don't use the word blind anymore. Visually impaired. Picks up his or her phone, turns on that camera. So the way it is that the app has been connected to such person's camera that nearly the person picks it up. Then there's a voice recognition. It asks the question, do you want to turn on this software? Yeah, it turns on the software. And it tells the person, just instead of the one I saw was you have to hold up the the camera and look for. But this one, you put it in your pocket. The camera is facing backward, and it talks to the blind person. It says 2 meters, you are almost close to a wall. It tells you, okay, there are 2 figures coming in front of you. One is a male, one is a female. Turn left now, don't hit your head on this, that. I saw it 2 days ago. I was impressed. So people are working. So I expect some things from you guys also. Expect some things. Mr. Blessing has taught you Flask. I saw you guys working on Flask and things. So I want to see outputs that will wow me. Exactly. You see, you guys are doing wow. Yes. So these are things that I believe you guys can do also. So then you can create your own modules, as we've learned also. That was why I was creating my own module, which I call modularity, creating my main.py and things like that. Yes, like a Google map direction, but for blind people now. Sorry, not the word blind. Visually impaired. visually impaired. So those are the things. All right. Then I spoke about data sources. Isaac said, Omo. Yes, I spoke about data sources. So you see that we have great minds in Nigeria, wonderful and beautiful minds, which I know that you guys are wonderful because I've been following you guys and see what you guys do during your, even though I've been a bit out of the, because of my defense and things like that. So I had to prepare for my defense. So that's why you've not seen me in a while. But I've been hearing from you guys. I've been going back to watch the videos, and I'm very impressed. Then we spoke about data sources. We looked at data sources. Working with CSV file, you know how to read in your CSV file now. Everybody should be able to read in their VSV. Cutoff has increased though. Marking scheme is not. So you guys can read in data, your data set from anywhere now. Exactly. So you want to read in your CSV and things like that. So the same way you read in your CSV, you can also read in your Excel. So these are things you can print your first 5 rows of your data to see what is there. And we spoke about working with APIs. Hopefully, I'm praying that after this set, there will be room for us to meet again and we can go deeper into deep learning and using images also now. Everything we've done is a numerical data set. We talk about using images so that some of us can build the LLMs, large language machines. So we talk about natural language processing, NLP, can build chat boxes and things like that. So those are things I believe maybe we'll be able to do. All right. So important. So I'm not going to be grading this now, but I taught you guys in case for some of us that might find some online works and jobs, and you have to connect to APIs to do your work. So that was the reason why we did some extra syllabus. Okay. Then I spoke about web scraping also, which we talked about the beautiful soup. So I think please, these are skills that you need, not basically for this exam or your project, but you might find yourself working somewhere and somebody is saying, have you heard of beautiful soup? Oh, you just wow them. Oh, is it not that library for web scraping? And they look at you, wow, he or she knows about web scraping, so that's fantastic. So that's just it. So with functions, you write once, use many times. Create list makes you to create your list faster. Write smarter when you use reusable code. Then data sources, foundation for what? For real world projects. I think I gave you a list of where you can find your data set and things. All right. And we spoke about feature scaling, which I said is a technique used to bring all features in a data set to the same scale or range when we're talking about outliers and things like that. So when we want to scale, you can see these guys are scattered and we brought them together into what? Into a particular place. So this was where we talked about why feature scaling. It ensures that, so these are problems you will find out when you are working on your project. You find out that your features are not so, they are not well scaled. So these are part of your data cleaning and all pre-processing or whatever you call it. Some people call it data cleansing, whatever name you call it. So you have to put there. For some of us that are very smart, I'm sure some of us will go and look for data that has been well, cleaned and things like that. That's fantastic. But just believe that you will lose you will just lose some marks for creativity. So we'll be looking at your EDA, your exploratory data analysis and things like that. The model is in place of white canes for the visually impaired. Thank you very much. Thank you. So why do we use feature scaling? It improves your interpretability. It stabilizes your model performance. Exactly. So it boosts your accuracy, require the PCA and other dimensionality reduction. Who can remember what PCA is? Who can tell me the full meaning of PCA? Quickly, before we go on break. PCA. First person to get it, extra 5 marks for your exam. for your project. All right, Shagun, component analysis. Fantastic. Shagun Lawa. So thank you very much. So just remind me. I'll pen it down also. All right, thank you everyone. I just said one person. I've already seen Shagun Lawa, so Shagun Lawa has already gotten the 5 marks. Thank you. Then we talk about your normalization, which is your min max. These are things that you encounter when you are working on your data set. You see things, you need to normalize your data. You need to maintain your relative distribution. So how do you calculate your normalization? You say, when do I use normalization? When your features have different ranges? Faith is laughing. When the algorithm requires bounded inputs, or when your data is not Gaussian distributed. Remember what I told you. To be Gaussian distributed, is skewed. It may be bimodal. It has outliers or heavy tails. It may be uniform, or might be exponential, Gaussian, or log normal in nature. So these are things we'll be seeing in deep learning. We just taught them now, so just have an idea. So by the time we are talking about them in deep learning, you won't have a lot of issues to work out with. So I talk about this code for normalization. You normalize your data to be scaled. So you scale your data set very well in case it is not scaled. All right. And I gave an example of how you can do the mathematical your normal, using your paper and pencil, and pencil or biro, just manually, so that you know that there's no magic behind it. So I think that's the calculation. Woo! That calculation has disappeared. Where did we? Sorry. Something is wrong with my slides. So I think we still have the original slides where we did the calculation. All right, so you can check that out again. Then we said the standardization also, which is called the Z-score scaling. You can transform your data to have a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. It centers and scales data for better, we'll see it in the slide, thank you, for better performance, algorithm, and assuming normal distribution. All right, the formula has disappeared too. Woo! Fantastic. So when do you use that? When your data follows a Gaussian or a normal distribution, when using algorithms that assume normality, when using distance-based, when using regularization techniques, when your feature have different units or ranges, things like that. So please go back to these things, because you might encounter some data sets that you pick, and you just require to do some normalization or standardization. Okay, does this have the formula? Formula missing again. Sorry about that. So then I did a comparison table. You can go back and look at those comparison table. In the next 10 minutes, we'll begin for our break so that we'll fill our attendance. So let me try and move faster so that we can cover up. I think we have about 142 slides or thereabout. Okay. Then we talked about choosing the right method. When do you think you should choose the right method? When you want your data to be between 0 and 1. We are talking about feature falling out of scale. So you want to bring it back into scale to fall into, like, and Mr. Isaac gave an example. You have things like prices in your scale. You have price of 50,000, 60,000, and all of a sudden you see 500,000. You can see that it's an outlier. It's so far away from them. So how do you bring them back? You can use your min max scaling, which is your normalization. Also, you can do that also with your thank you very much. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for the formula. Yeah, Bola Joko, please just write your question down. When it's time for question, I will allow you. Sorry, because we have a lot. Because I still want to talk about our project tonight. So I want to see how we can cover everything. And in the remaining 15 minutes, share my screen and just talk about what the project should look like. The project, there's no expo or anything in the project. So it's okay. Your question is, why is it that most AML job requires at least masters? I think what I believe is that they think that those that have gone to school to study may have much more how would I call it, understanding of it. And that's why you see me telling you create a portfolio. And that's what we're going to be doing with these our projects that we'll be working on. There's no team, or it's an individual work. There's no team for your project. It's going to be an individual work. I wanted to create team, but since I couldn't get hold of your community where I could access everybody's name and create a team, so it's going to be an individual work. But what you are going to be submitting to me will be your Kaggle, what's it called? Your Kaggle link. So that's how I'm going to access. It's not squad based, it's individual. It's individual. So we're going to assess you on your own. And you have about 4 weeks to do that. So it's going to be fantastic. Don't worry, there's going to be guidance. We'll call us, we'll do that, we'll talk. Oh, what's happening here? This, that. I won't give you an answer. I will only direct you and say, okay, maybe, or something like that. Then make you go there. Then Mr. Blessing is available. Mr. Isaac is available as well. Then we talk about your putting your feature scaling in pipeline. Now you are calling your models and things like that. So all these things now you should be familiar with from your skilllearn.pipeline, import pipeline, import your standard scaler, import your logistic regression model. Yes. Thank you very much. They have in-depth. Yeah, because they've gone to the school of that. For those of us who are learning now. But the good thing is that one thing I've realized that I can say it anywhere. Mr. Blessing can say it anywhere. Mr. Isaac can say it anywhere. We didn't go to school for what's it called? Masters or yes, you can pick data from. I will talk about data, please, later, so that I can move very fast. You are clogging as I'm trying to get across to who asked me that question? Bola Joko. Aha. So the truth is that what I've realized is that for those of us that have gone through training the way you have gone through training, I've worked with a lot of people that went to school, did the BSc, data science, masters in data science. But the truth, maybe I've not met anybody, but people I've met that have been doing that, we are far better than them. I can say it any day, anytime. We are far, far, far better than them. Why? We are learning, we're coming from another field, and we don't want to fail. So we put our mind towards it. They have that kind of overconfidence of, then I've done this, I can do that. So you find out that, so that's why I tell you, wherever you are coming from, whatever field, agriculture, whatever, your mind is made of, this is what I want to do. Then you go the extra mile. When people are sleeping at night, you are awake. 3 a.m., you are still awake. Then I'm going to work by 5. And you put on your boiling ring and boil your water. Then you are out of the house. Yes, you will feel weak sometimes, but the truth is that it pays off. It really, really pays off. So going the extra mile. Then we talk about how to undo outliers. Now I told you outliers are points that just want to be like a prodigal son. I made an example of you having 100 sheep. Sorry, you had a white and white male and female sheep. Then they gave birth and you found out that there's a black sheep among them. So the outlier is like a black, it's like a black sheep. So I say, what are their characteristics? They are usually large or small. They have statistical deviation. Exactly, they move away from every other values. They also have like univariate. I tell you, outliers that are extreme in one particular feature. That's the example I gave you. Having house prices of in a kind of arrangement, you have 50,000, you have 60,000, 70,000, and all of a sudden you see 5 million. It's very out of what? It's out of range. You have outliers that are extreme in the context of multiple futures. Maybe like 5 futures are having a lot of outliers. So it becomes what? Multivariate. So those are things like that you look out for. Exactly. That's what will help you when you are cleaning your data set. You will find out some things like that. I will see how you handle them. So what are causes of outliers? We spoke about them. It could be caused by what? Data entry errors. You could have natural variations. Yes, some values are just extremely high or low. Then you could have rare events, I said, like fraud. Maybe there's been mismanagement or something, or it's always rare. Then we look at the example I was giving us. look at this data set, you have 50,000, 60, 50, then you have 100,000 is still okay, then you have 5 million. So 5 million is an outlier. So how do you bring that to work? You either use what? Normalization, or you standardize. All right. So I say, how do you first undo it? You need to first understand that what? There's an outlier. So you first identify that there's an outlier. Then the next thing you do is that you plan to remove it. If you can't remove it, you can cap it or clip it. When we talk about capping or clipping, we are talking about you using your normalization or what? Or standardization. Then you can transform the data. So you can transform. When we get to deep learning, you'll be seeing things like data transformation. Then we can input outliers also. So if the outliers are important but need to be replaced with more reasonable value, so there you can use your median mean. I remember Mr. Blessing teaching us using mean and median and standard deviation. Then, or you can just use a robust model. Say like random forest, your tree-based model, or a robust regression can undo them naturally. The final thought, the scaling is critical in many ML models. Then it helps you to improve what? Accuracy, speed, and performance. Then you have to choose your method based on the what? Data distribution and your model type. So those are things I'll be looking at us. When we are picking our works, I'll see those of us, either if you are doing a regressive a regression analysis, then I'll see the model you are using. If you are doing a classification analysis, I'll see the kind of model you are using. So these are things that that will matter a lot, that we need to be cognizant of or take attention, pay attention to. So in the next 2 minutes, we'll go for a break, then we'll come back. So let's go on. Then I talk about model selection. I said, well, the process of choosing your appropriate machine model or learning model that you will use in carrying out your or solving your whatever problem. Is it a health problem? Is it finance? Is it agriculture? Is it poultry? Is it weather? So, but you must be able to pick the appropriate model for your real life or real world situation. I say, why do we select models? Your accuracy, number one, accuracy of your prediction. You might look at that. Then you are looking at it. Is it generalizable to new data sets? Does it have an efficient use of resources? Then my model, does it give me interpretability and explainability? That is, can people see from my results, from the model I've used, and understand that, okay, this is what I've gotten? Can I compare it with similar real life work or traditional way of doing what I've done using my machine? Then we spoke about what is the best fit model. I said a model that balances what? Accuracy, complexity, and generalizability to achieve what? Your optimal performance. It is accurate. Yes, it handles complexity of data set or whatever you have given to it. Then whenever any data or external data is being tested on it, your model still stands the test of time. Because what I'm going to do is that after you've created your model, you've given me your classification report and everything, I'm going to come into your back end of your code and go and get other because you're going to be submitting the data set also that you used. So I'll go and get other data set and test your model using the data set. If you told me that, okay, when you've created your model, you got 97, and I use my external data set and I'm getting 70, then something is wrong somewhere with your model. You'll still get your marks, but it might be a bit reduced. All right, let's go for a break. I think it's 8 already. Admin, so that we can sign our attendance. Okay. Pending the time we're waiting for admin to set attendance, let's go on. All right. Then we look at the key criteria. Look at the criteria I've said. So you have to go back to your slide again when you're picking your model. You need to look at your accuracy. You need to look at your precision. Oh, okay. Admin is here. All right. So admin is here with the attendance. Let's go for a break. Then after that, we'll come back 8:05 and continue. All right. Thank you, admin. All right. So I think we are back. So let's just go on quickly so that I can drop this slide and we'll talk about projects. Then you can ask me any question you need to ask. Then we'll call it a day. Okay. Then I told us these are the model selection process. Talk about problem definition, data what's it called? Preparation, your model selection itself, evaluation, and what? And your final selection, which is your best fit model. All right, then we talked about the types of machine learning models. If you could remember, when I spoke about the unsupervised and supervised, and I said for this course of this training, we are looking at just the supervised, which has to do with classification and regression. Then we looked at what a supervised learning is, where your data is already labeled, then the example and how it works. Then I told you about the use case when you talk about email spam, disease diagnosis, house prediction, and things like that. Then we looked at the models you can find under them. Then I spoke about classification, which is a type of supervised learning task, where the goal is to predict a label or category from a set or a predefined classes. You already know A or B. You give your model, can you select between A and B and put them in two different places? Then these are some real world examples that I gave. You see your patient record, voice recording, exam scores. Then how does it work? You collect your data, you do your feature extraction, which is convert the raw data into useful inputs. Then model training, you carry out your prediction and evaluation. Then I talked about types of classification. You have binary, multi-class, and multi-label. Then we move to the types of classification models that you can have. You have your logistic regression, your decision trees, your random forest, your SVM, your KNN, your CNN, and things like that. Then what is the metrics? So I spoke about these metrics: your accuracy, your precision, your recall, F1 score, and confusion matrix. Then we went to what? To regression also, which is a type of what's it called? A type of supervised learning also. Then we talked about this more with what? Predicting quantity rather than classification that predicts categories. And one of those things we spoke about were like prices, temperature, or scores. So look at them. These are things you can do on regression analysis. You can predict your house prices, your blood pressure, exam score, or forecast stock price. Then I said you collect the label data the same way you train. You make your prediction, then you evaluate. Then types of regression, we have your linear regression, you have your multiple linear regression, you have your polynomial regression, you have your lasso or ridge, which is known as a regularization. Then you have what you call your logistic regression, which I tell you, I said, despite its name, you can use it for both your classification and your regression. Then we spoke about some regression models also. You can see your support, your SVR with your support vector regression and things like that. Then we spoke about your regression matrices. These are places where I will know that you know what you are doing when you are working on your model or on your project. If you are using a regression model and I begin to see you use classification metrics for your regression model, then I will know that maybe you have dubbed from ChatGPT. And vice versa, you are doing a classification and you are using your regression metrics for classification, then I will know that maybe you have done something very, very funny. All right. Then we talked about model generalizational errors. I talked about errors that happen, unseen errors, not just on your data. It was trained on when your model fails to work properly, when we bring in a new data set. So these are things you should put at the back of your mind when working on your model. All right. Okay, we're almost there. Then I spoke about types of generalization error. Spoke about your underfitting, overfitting, optimistic error, and what? And your data leakage. Please go back. We spoke about your bias variance trade-off. Now I told us what happens when there's bias, what happens when there's variance. So when there's bias is what? Error due to what? Very, very simple assumption in your algorithm. Then variance, error due to model sensitivity to small fluctuation in what? Your training set. Then you have your irreducible error, which is noise in the data that no model can reduce. Okay. Then what do you do when you are the trade-off? What happens when your bias is high? What is happening? It means your model is too simple. So you must increase your model. When variance is high, your model is too complex. You might need to look for a smaller model. Then what is another thing that happens is that there's underfitting. It doesn't capture what the data set itself. Then when your model is too complex, it overcaptures the data and it runs at a loss. So for your high bias, you have high training and test error. For your high variance, you have low training error and high test error. And I told us of example, using a linear regression model on a curved data. It's linear, so you need to use what? A logistic. Then using what? A deep network on a small noisy data can give us what? High variance. How do you manage those things? Talk about what? Model complexity. You adjust your model complexity, you adjust your training time, your features, you do some bit of regularization and your data sets. So these are things you need to go back to check on them. Then I told you basically to manage those errors, you can use an ensemble method, whereby we combine multiple models together, usually called base learners or weak learners. So you start from one, it takes the strength of one, then its weakness is being complemented by the second model and things like that. Like my work I'm doing now, I'm using an ensemble model and what you call a multi-stage classification model. So it really helps us to balance error. Okay. Then I said the idea is that combining multiple models improves overall performance and generalization, which helps you to reduce your variance or bias and avoids what? Overfitting. So some of us might decide to try an ensemble model for whatever you want to do. It's good. That would be very fantastic. That would be fantastic. Then I talked about some types of ensemble methods. Bagging is what I'm using for my PhD project, which is very good. You arrange them in models in parallel. It reduces variance and things like that. So it's fantastic. Then boosting, it uses bias and variance. Then you have stacking, which improves overall accuracy. Then you have voting, soft voting or just voting, which improves stability. You have your hard voting or soft voting. So it's also fantastic that way. Then we have some key concepts I spoke about. You have what is diversity, what is a base learner, what is a meta learner, and what's the difference between bagging and boosting. You might need to go back and look at these things also. Then when do you use your ensemble method? So when the single models are unstable or prone to overfitting, yes, you should have tested first. Because that's one thing with building a model. Why I was using that was I've tested single model on what I have, and I've realized that there will be issue when local data sets are coming in. So that's why I'm using the ensemble model. I say when you are looking to increase your accuracy with minimal feature engineering, you don't want to do a lot of data cleaning. Then maybe for a competition. Then tips for effective model selection: understand your data. First, evaluate multiple models first, so test your data on different models, or best do comparison model and pick like 5 models and run your model on them, then pick the best one at the end. Then I say don't chase perfection. Yes, we know that we're supposed to be perfect, but when you are working first, what problem am I solving? Then later perfection start coming in when you start doing your you start getting user feedback and things like that. But for the model you want to build, can it solve that problem at that time? Real time, can it solve the problem? Exactly. So we talk about model selection is very iterative. It depends on data, task, and context. Then you use metrics and domain knowledge. You must understand that domain you want to work on, what is going on in that domain. So that's why you find that when I open our project work, we start to talk about what's it called? Your problem statement and things like that. So all right. If you are going to use other boost, I'll give you as an assignment. Go and read on other boost and know what it is used for. It says dual faced. Yes. So if you are going to use that, that's what I was explaining to us. I think I mentioned some things like SG boot and boosting. So your other boosting, I said, is reduces what bias and variance. So if you want to use those models also, but you must be convinced that your data set is how would I call it? Is viable enough for you to be able to use those models. Have you tested single models before you used them? Those are the questions I will ask you. So that will be for you to prove to me in your what's it called? In your project. I think Praise, I've answered this question before. I won't answer you again. We spoke about weak learners and base learners the last class. I won't talk about it again. You need to pick it up. It's part of your project, so I won't talk about that. I won't give you answers for the project. I will just explain the project. Some of us will find this out in our project, so I will leave it that way. I've spoken about them, so you might need to go back to previous video. I'm watching my time so that I can go to our, I think I still have about 20 something slides to go through. All right, then we talk about evaluation matrices, where I spoke about confusion matrix, your precision, sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, area under the curve, F1 score, and things like that. All right, so this is what our confusion matrix looks like. Your actual class and your predicted class. I'm happy that you guys are asking these questions. Yes, it's fantastic. Well, I will see them in your work. No expo. It means that some of you have started working on your model. That's fantastic. So we spoke about confusion matrix when we talk about your actual class, that is classification by the clinician, and the predicted class, which is classification made by your own machine learning algorithm, or what you call your machine learning model or your AI model. Multi-class classification. You can use your regression, your logistic regression, and all of them. All of them can work on, as long as it's classification. They will work, but you just need to do some tweaking. Any classification model can work on them. Then I think I put some specific ones also in the examples for your multi-class models. I think I put some models underneath them for you. So you might need to visit that, Fisayo, you might need to visit that slide again. All right, then we'll talk about what is true positive. These are kind of questions you'll find in your what's it called? In your OB, in your exam. When is something said to be true positive? Instances that are positive, actually, and what? Predicted to be positive. Actual has diabetes, then prediction says it has diabetes. So false negative, you know what it means. The instance says the actual negatives. Sorry, false positive, sorry. Instance by clinician says what the actual negatives, but your machine is predicting them to be what? Positive. So we say what? That is what they are false positive. Then false negative. They are actually positive, but your machine is saying what? They are negative. Then you have true negative. Clinician has said it is negative. Your machine is saying it is also negative. And we talk about your sensitivity, which I tell you it is called your true positive rate, and it also recall. When it's 8:30, I will stop and share my screen so I can discuss the project question, because I know this is the only time we have to ask questions, unless on Friday again, when we might need to talk to Mr. Blessing about some things, and he will be dealing with more of a practicals. So let me rush as fast as possible so that we can share, we can see the project together, assimilate, and read. Yetunde, what's going on? You don't need to be scared, though. It's just all what you have learned. Then specificity, we spoke about as the true negative, which measures the proportion of your actual negative cases that are correctly mentioned or identified by the model. Then we looked at precision, you know, and I asked the question there that day. I said, it's possible for your what's it called, for your model to be accurate and not precise. So, and I asked, which will you pick? A model that is precise and accurate. No. You guys should not scare yourself. You've done a lot well in your practical, so it is well is not necessary. It's it's just something that you need to put your hands dirty on. And that's what I've told us. Don't go and be copying for you to be good. You don't need, your body does not need to shake now. You have 4 weeks. Mr. Blessing will tell you that we sometimes we built close to like 5 models in 3 nights. So you too, you get to that stage, you start building models in less than so your projects, in fact, you have more than enough time to do that, to check error. I know some of us have work, go to work, we come back, but if you give it at least 2 hours per day, Joshua says final year project. All right. Then we talked about accuracy, your proportion, overall proportion of correct predictions for both your positive and your negative out of all the total number of cases. Then what are the shortfall? I said one of the problems is what imbalanced data set. When you have an imbalanced data set, accuracy can tell you lies, but your precision will always let you know. Your precision will always tell you what is really going on. Exactly. Then we spoke about area under the curve, where to use them and where not to use it. Then I give you this. How do you know that your area under the curve is good? I give you these matrices. When it falls between 0.5 to 0.6, it's unsatisfactory. That's when you have 50 to 60%. 60 to 70 is okay. 70 to 80 is good. 80 to 90 is very good. 90 to 100. But I've told us no model is 100. By the time I start seeing your model having 98, I will question some things and do some underground work. And all of you will make it. Now there's nothing too much there. The only thing is that let me say it now so that you not say Mr. Lagi did not say it. Don't do diabetes. So nobody should do diabetes. No diabetes. Mr. Blessing used diabetes as an example. So no diabetes model. Thank God I remembered now. Somebody will just go and pick Mr. Blessing's code and come and bamboozle us. We'll catch you. Don't do diabetes. Do something else. Do something else. Faith, I caught you, Abby. You wanted to go and pick Mr. Blessing's work. You and Matthew. I caught you guys. Thank God I remembered. So no diabetes. Junior, I caught you. Me myself, I've been thinking, I said, so we will go and copy diabetes and come and give to Mr. Jide. No way. So that's the end of revision. I just ran our brain through. You see what we have done in 8 weeks is a lot. It's a lot. Just my slides alone is 140 something. And if you look at what Mr. Isaac too, you should have about 140 something slides as well. Then your trainings and your practical with Mr. Blessing too. So William say, God, I beg. So it's just it. So I would advise that as much as you want to watch our video, you can go back first and watch all practical videos. I think it will first help you. For those of you that want to catch up, all practical videos. So just imagine when we started, it looked as if we didn't. I'm owing somebody 5 points, so I can't even remember. Shegun. Shegun. I'm owing one Mr. Shegun in capital letter. His name is in capital letter. There's another Shegun, so I know the Mr. Shegun. I'm owing 5 points. All right. So you see that some terminologies that you didn't know before, now you know. Yes, Matthew. It will be what? Interesting. Yes. Very interesting. Very interesting. So let me drop my slide and share my screen so I can look at the, what's it called together? the what do you call it again? The projects, exactly. That's why we can ask a question. Yeah, Shegun Lawa, thank you. Dari, thank you, Tosin. I really appreciate you guys. His name is Shegun Lawa. Fantastic. All right. You guys are your brother's keeper. Thank you. So let's share. Let me share my screen so that we can. Okay. No. Excuse me. All right. I'm sure we can see my screen now. If you can see my screen, just let me know. Yes, I'm going through the assignment you gave us. Yes, I started going through it. I think I finished my presentation last week, so I started yesterday. So I'll get back to you guys on the assignment also. I saw it in my mail. I will zoom. Yes, I'll zoom. I'll zoom it in. Don't worry, I'll zoom in. Final year project, no AOC, no diabetes model, no assistant. There will be assistant now. Sorry, no, this is not what I want to show you. All right. This is too. Okay. I think it's better, right? Okay, you can see. Let's go. Right. So this is it. DSA AIML final project. So I just gave it the title. I said it's design and deployment of an AI-powered predictive system. So what is our project overview? In this project, you will develop and deploy a machine learning or AI-based model for a real-world application of your choice. You are required to pre-process the data, build and evaluate the predictive model, and deploy the solution using Flask. If you know any other way you can deploy it, it's fantastic, so that it can be accessed via a simple web interface, just like the way Mr. Blessing had showed you guys. So what is our project question? How can AI models be developed and deployed in real-world application to support decision-making and improve task automation through a simple web interface? So what is our our objectives? By the end of the project, you will be able to explore and analyze a real-world data set. You will build and evaluate a supervised machine learning or AI model. You will develop a user-facing website interface with Flask. Then you will deploy the model and perform real-time prediction. It's still the same thing. So after you've done with your tasks, then we'll now have an interface where we can enter, just like your diabetes, where we can enter into that. So I put 5, I remember now, I did 5 categories. So please hold on your questions so that I can come back, and when we finish reading, then I'll come back to the chat box, then we'll talk about the questions. I'm sharing my screen now, so I can't actually see your questions. So let's just hold on with our questions. So I said project categories. So I put the 5 basic categories, which I think we should be able to work on. So I said healthcare, predict diseases, e.g. diabetes. So diabetes is not there again. So don't get carried away. Then you can look for things like severity classification based on whatever classification you want to do. Is it severity, or I'm just doing a normal classification of non-pneumonia or pneumonia, hazard disease or hazard disease, from clinical or image data. Forget about image data for now. Use your numerical data set. Then you have finance. You can predict stock price trend, credit risk, or customer churn. You can do a fraud detection using transaction data based on, so look for the problem. So you can do an educational model which will predict student performance, or a dropout prediction, or automated grading system. Then for retail or e-commerce, you can do sales forecasting, or product recommendation system, or customer segmentation. that customer heavy buyers or those things like that. Then you can do a sentiment analysis or natural language processing. You can classify product or movie reviews as positive or negative, or you can detect fake news or spam using text data. So it's dependent on you. So these are the 5 places I want us to focus on. I put health as one because I'm an health person, so I put myself first. All right. Then what are your tools? You already know that you are going to be using your Python. Then what libraries are you going to be using? Your Panda, your NumPy, your scikit-learn, your Matplotlib or Seaborn. You might need TensorFlow or PyTorch and your Flask. Then if you are doing images, which for now don't do anything image, you might need to do your OpenCV for now, no image, because I didn't talk about that. If you want to scrape, you might want to wow me and scrape, which will be fantastic. Then you can do your deployment. You can use render or Heroku or whatever way you think you can do that, so you can see your web interface. If you want to use Mr. Blessing's style, it's fantastic by me. So what are your project instructions and phases? The first thing you are going to do is your data set and problem definition. So you need to choose your category and define your problem first. So from the first, so those are the ways I'm going to look at your folder and things that you put in your folder, in your cargo, everything that needs to be done. So first you have picked your data set. So if I were you now, what I'll do is that I'll just create folders like that to know, or create steps on how I want to do what I want to do. So you choose your category first. That's the first thing. Then you define your problem. What do I mean? Is it heart disease? Then you tell us why you want to solve heart disease with just one reference. You can look for one reference of a latest work of what is happening. Why do you think we need that now in your environment or anywhere? Then source your data. You must let us know where your data source is from. Is it a CSV gotten from where? Did you scrape it, or you see? I gave us about 10 different data sources. So you let us know. Then you describe your input features and your target variable. Mr. Blessing, I told you that one. Very, very important. Then next phase, you move to your data preparation. These are things I'll be seeing in our codes. You might need to clean your data, undo missing values, outliers, duplicates, view the first 5 rows and things. Then very important, you must perform exploratory data analysis, EDA. You must do your EDA. If need be, you might need to engineer new features if you don't have a feature that you want to target. Then you need to split your data into train or test, or into train, validation, or test sets. Then you go into your model development, where you select and build an appropriate ML model. You might need to use your logistic regression, or you want to use 3 models together. You might need to train the model. You will need to train the model and evaluate the performance based on regression. You can see the regression parameter, matrices. You can see classification. Then you can fine tune your model. It's optional anyway. I put that as optional. Even though we taught parameter tuning, if you think you need to do that, fine. Then you will not save your trained model. I think Mr. Blessing has taught you how to save your trained model as .8.5. If not, it will still do that again on what's it called? On a Friday. Then you create your Flask application. I think I was able to watch that video, even though I was not there. I was preparing for my presentation the next day, but I watched it overnight. So I saw how you did your HTML template and you test your app locally. I saw that. Then you will not do a report. You must create a report. So this is how your report will follow. Create a comprehensive report or presentation that includes, it could be a PowerPoint or it could be a Word. You will talk about it. You know the way we do our presentations now. So you tell us your data source, your model description. You can do screenshots exactly of everything, your reflection, what worked, what didn't work, what is your future. So when you are submitting, you must please be sure that you submit this, you check this, your list. Your complete source code for both your deployment and your Python, your trained model file, which is the .h, your Flask application. Then if you have any requirements for dependencies that you did, fine. Then your report. Data set, if it's too large, give us a link to where we can download it. So all these things must be in your folder, the final folder you are creating for. So I will advise that there are two ways you can do your submission. We'll decide and get back to you. Is either you are using your Kaggle, or we are going to be using your Google Drive and you will share it, or we'll give you a Google Drive where you will all dump it for us in your folder with your full name, so I will know who is who. Then these are the things I'll be grading. I just put it there. So problem definition and data set choice is 10 marks. Data processing and EDA is 20 marks. Model accuracy and justification is 25. Flash app functionality and user interface is 25. Report and code quality is 20. So which totals what? 100 marks. Then I was so magnanimous enough to help you put some categories here where you can pick your data set. If you don't like the data set, you can pick any other one you think you want to use. So I think after that, that's it anyway. So, all right. Yes, you can do something different from. I've still told you now. I put categories there, so it's not left for you. It's not necessary to do what, but those 5 categories is what I'm recommending for now. Unless if you have something else that you can really prove to us. But those 5 categories are things I think are necessary. Let me use that word like that now. But if you want to do any other category, I would say add agriculture. That should be the last category. If I'm going to add anything for any one of us, it's going to be what? Agriculture. Yes, they are project supervisors. They are project supervisors. We are the ones that will be the supervisor also, so we'll be supervising everybody. So don't be scared. Isaac, no, there's no problem at all. It's very, very simple. Admin, can you put my face back on the major screen so that we just want to have discussions before we end the class? The slides are over. Just put me back on the screen, please. Thank you. So, okay. What I'll do for us is that I'm not going to share project material. You are the one that will. Everything that documentation is going to be shared with you. You will not get it yourself. So admin will share that with you. I believe when it's time for you to start the project, everything will be shared with you. So now is an opportunity for you to ask me every question you think you need to ask about the project. Yes, it's going to be shared with you. I've already shared with admin everything so that you can follow the guideline. So what I will do is that for you is that I will not try and do so that it will be easier for you to do your reporting. So let me help you with reporting. I will do a PDF, what's it called? A PowerPoint template. We'll do it sample template so that everybody, there will be uniformity. There will be a uniformity. So what you need to put in. The slide should not be more than 15 slides anyway. It should be more than 15 slides. So timeline from the project, I think is another 4 weeks. The project is 4 weeks again. During that process is when we'll be having a mentorship and things like that. Yeah, I think let me share that also. Let's see. And that's what we have left now. Let me share my screen again, because I think this is where we are at the moment. So this is where the screen. All right. All right. So this is where we are now. So we are done with revision, and I don't know when examination will be coming up, but here will be mentorship and model project development. So project proposal and team, and there's supposed to be a team, but since we couldn't do team, so it's in the individual. So understanding, I'm going to be talking about understanding business problem, So phase, we talk about data collection. So these are things we'll just be reaching out. It might not be 1-2 hours anymore, just to know what we've done. So I'm hoping that we can have a platform where we'll be able to. My LMS is up anyway, so I think I'll start creating for each week. We'll create what's it called, discussions, so I can know what you guys are going through and things. So this is like a what's it called, like where you should be at every point in the next 4 weeks. So you find out that on the last week you will do a project demo and a report submission. So we'll do a peer review and give you a feedback and that. So you prepare your slides, you debug. So just try. I know 4 weeks is not, but I believe you guys can do it. So let's put it that way, so it's easier. Okay, can DSA get us in-time placement? I think DSA will talk to you guys. Will talk to DSA about that one. Sample project. Abimbola, the diabetes that you have been doing with Mr. Blessing is a sample project. Please don't have palpitation. No? I'm begging. God will have mercy on me. Who is Kingsley want to have palpitation? I beg. Somebody should go and lie down, please, and take cold water. Will the project be done individually? Yeah, your project will be done individually. You can start your project from now on. If I believe, I spoke about projects. So I believe that those of us that are very fast, we should have started working on something already. So can the project link and fast be dropped in the community to enable? Yeah, it will be dropped. Yeah, the project is do it yourself. Thank you. Yes, you will get everything. Project has started already. Your project has started already. So your opportunity, if I were you now, what I would do is that on Friday, every question I think I need to ask Mr. Blessing, that Friday you have to do that. So please slide here. Everything will be sent to you. The chat box doesn't allow me to share my email, so you might need to go to my LinkedIn. Sir, can we chat you? Yes, you can chat also. That's the part of the mentorship. I wish we had a WhatsApp group where we can reach out to all of you. It would have been easier for me. The LMS is okay, but we just try and create what's project cutoff mark? Wow, that's a very good question. We'll get back to you on Friday. But I don't believe anybody should score anything less than 70. I don't believe anybody should score less than 70. Yeah. Will there still be time to touch a little of deep learning for those of you that are curious? God will help, or maybe during the mentorship, we can chip in some things. Yeah, so Abimbola, please wow me. Faith, I like that. Chilled, yes. I never start project. My head is oversaturated. Please, Abiodun, don't be stuck. Yeah, you can ask your question, Abiodun. Ask your. Where can one get data set for fraud detection? I think I dropped the link there for you. I've dropped links in all these things. Even today, the file I'm going to drop for you for project also. You will find link to where you can get transaction data for fraud detection. Then, sir, sorry for digressing a little. I took my time going through your video on recently. I asked something like, yes, agentic AI. Were you at the DSA conference in Ibadan? Stephen, did you go to the, because I'm surprised. That was where myself, I've been hearing about it, but that was where I had a bit of an idea of what agentic AI is. Oh, you are not at the DSA, the Data Science Africa conference. I was there throughout last week where I had some presentation. So agentic AI, your generative AI, you need to still keep feeding your generative AI. But now generative AI is switching into agentic. What is agentic? Agentic now begins to learn itself, either with input or without input. It's learning from patterns of how you've been answering questions. So what it does is that it learns from questions And one good thing about agentic AI is that agentic AI does not hallucinate. So it tries as much as possible to avoid hallucination. Yeah. So you can't find my email. Let me see again if my email will drop here. I think I dropped it the other time. Somebody can help me out. I think I dropped it for you, teacherwale@outlook.com. So that I will know that it's from DSA. If I give you my normal this thing, I won't remember, but so it's not allowing me to drop that. So it's teacherwale@outlook.com. So you can reach me on that. Yeah, isn't that a form of reinforcement learning? Yes. So that's what it's doing. Prof, thank you very much. Thank you, Iniolua. So that's what it's doing. So agentic AI is just learning based on everything that comes in, everything that comes. So I don't need to keep updating it with data sets and say, okay, this is what is happening now. No, it picks one pattern of responses that it has been getting. Excuse me, and uses it to train itself. So most of our generative AI is now moving into agentic AI. That's a very good question. I love that question. I'm very, very Stephen is good. It means that you are well read. I really appreciate that. I really, 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 really appreciate that. So I know we are in a community group. Please, you guys should try and collaborate. You should try and collaborate. Try and how would I put it? Network with one another. Yes, you might not have seen yourself, but please try and try and work together. Talk to yourselves. Reach out to yourselves. Oh, this is what I think about my project. This is what I've been doing. Can I do this? Can I do that? So I think it will really help us so much. We can balance ourselves. I think one of the things I've enjoyed most is that I've been able to network with people that I never believed I would meet, and they've made my life very, very easy. Very, very easy. So the more people you talk to, the more collaboration you form, the better you become. Most of the things you ask me now, imagine you now asking me agentic AI, and I just attended a conference. So it's like a plus. If you have not mentioned that, I wouldn't have. Okay, said agentic AI was discussed, and it just concluded. That's good. That's good. Yeah, you are very right, sir. We are not ready. I love that. That was what Professor Onifade said. He said we are still battling with generative AI, and agentic AI is coming out. He said, where are we? So I love that. I love that. But funny enough, the transition is just happening very fast. And if you are not careful, if not because of conferences like this, and like what you attended, who is that? Shegun Belu. If not for the expo you were in, you would not know that a lot of things are going on. So you find out that we are still far, very far behind, and we need to catch up as fast as possible so that we are not left behind. We are not left behind. Models are moving, at the speed of light. Some guys wake up and they are just bombarding the AI world, the ML world, the data science world. We just, ideas are just popping out. Ideas are just popping out. So so we need to what? Keep ourselves. It's getting popular in crypto. You see, crypto space. Yes, crypto now. So because agentic AI will be able to sweep out what's it called, fraud and all these kind of things. So that's a very good that's a very good area. Somebody is saying it's getting popular. Okay, can we have a project on engineering? What project, what model? If you have a model you can build, you can run it by me. Then if it's viable, I would. Yes. No, explainable AI is just more like your that I'm working on something. If you have heard of GradCam. Explainable AI now is trying to now look at what is the correlation between what the machine itself are predicted and what the clinical guys are predicted. So we now begin to see, is there a correlation between the results by the traditional way, or let's use the word traditional from clinicians, and what your machine. So it gives you like an heat map to show, okay, is there a correlation between the result gotten from manual classification and the machine classification. So using explainable AI, we now break it down to be able to now allow clinicians, what you have done now, you have done it in machine learning and AI. So now you will now use that explainable AI now to now teach clinicians, to tell them, okay, this is what has gone on. These are the processes that I've done to make my work effective, to make the machine effective. Can this be reproduced using your normal, what's it called? Your traditional method and things like that. So that's just it. So your explainable AI is more of like interpretability. So it's just more of that. So a lot of things are just coming up. Yes, explainable, generative. I saw something this what was it called? I think I saw next gen or something, next gen AI or whatever this today, but I've not had time to read it to exactly. Thank you, Prof. To validate your result. Thank you very much. Gives you result validation. Thank you so much, Prof. So I'm just looking at questions like that. So let me be picking them and see. I wanted to know if one need to be an academics, such as PhD and research to line to apply for. No, I used to be in the industry, but I think I just got my passion. I used to be in academics before, but when things were not going, I had to go into the industry. Then I came back. So it's not one thing. I think is the way you showcase your work. You know, I was telling us our LinkedIn has to be bombarded. LinkedIn is where people find you on the workspace. So you need to build portfolios for yourself. You need to sell yourself out there. And don't just sell yourself out there. Be sure that you can do what you are selling. And that's what I tell people. A lot of people are fraud. They just say things and they can't do it. See them putting pictures of programming they went to copy on ChatGPT and some things like that. Then when you meet them face to face, come and do something, they start to look at you as like somebody who has stolen something. So you have to prove yourself also. So not everybody I've met. My friend Sky works in IBM. Skylar works in IBM and he's doing very fine. He's not an academician, but he attends most of our seminars and conferences. So he just aligned. But what he does is that every product he creates for education. So you might just decide where you want to find yourself. Exactly. So besides that, I found a data set that fits the criteria I was looking for. But some diseases in there had only one instance each that didn't allow for train and split. How do I work on that? Yeah, I'm tempted to answer you, but I will not answer you. I won't answer you, Fisayo. That's part of your statement problem of statement. What worked, what did not work? How did I solve it? Exam has started already. I think a project is I think a project to show is not needed. I didn't get that. That's for breaking it down. Okay, thanks for breaking it down. All right. So some slides are not present on the LMS. I will talk to admin. All right. Create your niche. Thank you, Ambibola. Yes. Where do you want to? Yes, can I help you trade? Exactly. Do task. Somebody was telling me something about agentic AI. Okay, it was Professor Onifadi after the listen, and I was talking to him. He said there's a robot they call it. Is it Alice? She was telling me, say that's a kind of agentic AI. So you don't need to go and marry her. For those of you that say, no, all these girls, they have bad attitude. I don't like her. She's too this. If you have money, you go and get Alice. Do you want the cool Alice or the angry Alice or the Mumu Alice or whatever? Alice will cook your food. Alice will wash your plate. And when you come back, Alice will greet you. Good morning, honey. Welcome back from work. Things like that. So that's agentic AI working. Matthew is laughing. Yes, that's agentic AI working behind those kind of, the only thing they've not been able to do is that feelings. The day machine begins to have emotion, which I believe is very impossible. So forget Terminator and Back to the Future and all those movies that we have been watching. The day they become sentient, then problem begins. They say, analysts for lonely people. So things like that. He washes your clothes. You can tell Alice to go and wash your shoe, wash your car before you. Alice will wash your car. Will wait for you. Alice will not cheat on you and all those kind of things. But it's funny to me, Sha. Somebody say artificial love. So those are things. And it will come at a face pink drinking tea. So it will come at your own price, It's all model about prediction. No, that's how we told you now. There's classification, there's diagnosis based on maybe if it's health, There's regression analysis. At what stage will some people begin to leave some work? There's attrition rate and things like that. So there are a lot of things you can do. Yeah, I say more laziness. Yes, laziness will increase. One of the prince in what's it called? In Saudi Arabia said something. He said during his father's time, they were riding horses. Then when they came to their time, they were riding Range Rover and Lamborghini. He said, God forbid the future that their children will begin to walk. And what was he trying to say? He said what? He said tough men create opportunity, create lazy people. Yes, because during their time, they were, no, how can we be working? Let's start to do things that will work. So before you know it, they have created things for people that people will not sit down and don't want to use their brain anymore. So that's why you and I have to keep on, keep on. Don't let us get that lazy mentality. Exactly. Even though you're having children and you're trying to make life easy for your children because you've gone through a lot, let them understand the dignity of labor. I tell people that you need to allow people to understand dignity of labor. Just like we reading things and ChatGPT, I suddenly realized that if you're not careful, tough men create good times. Yes, good times create lazy men. Thank you very much. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Kosiso. God bless you. God bless you. That's just it. So the day AI becomes sentient is the day we'll start consulting their before consulting God. It will be very, very impossible. Very, very impossible. Because we are still the one. We are using our brains to program it. So how do you want to give it feelings? Maybe like somebody told me something, they said the way they did fiber optics, maybe they will do a fiber optics of feelings or something. I said, let's wait till then. Yes, operations in business startups. Yes, you are right, Praise. You're right. I will do it. They will get emotions. Remember I said it. I'll be waiting for you, goodness. See you at the top. So somebody said automation Maximo. My friend in the US has artificial love named Jack. They discuss at length. Yes. Jack, artificial Jack. It is well. Oh, we have there. So I love the way we are. Most of the times you don't see me on my phone. And that's why when you message me, you find that I'm replying you like the second day or thereabout. I love to interact with people. I want to hear what you have to say. I need to learn from you. I don't just want to learn from myself. That's the thing. You can't place, you can't even place brilliance in classes again. Yes, everyone on AI. I ask you a question, you want to write letter, AI. You want to send happy birthday message. It's not even coming from your heart. You are using ChatGPT to send a love message to your husband or wife. It becomes, it doesn't work. Yeah, I see right. I draw. You can see my back now. If I tilt to you, you can see what I pasted. You can see those are paintings between my daughter and I. So you can see them pasted on my wall. So creativity, you need to carry on. The fire of creativity must go on. So we do paintings, we do colorings and things. Because I'm trying as much as possible. I don't want her to get obsessed with all these things. It's good. I'm teaching her how to code and things, but just know that life, that part is there. But the part of communicating with you, talking to somebody, I cannot be talking to a robot. It's not worth it. So I think it's been good working with you guys. Sincerely, I can't believe that our classes have come to an end. It looked as if we're very, very, but thank God it has come to an end. I'll miss you guys, but we are still on for the mentorship. So we will learn from ourselves. So try to, don't just dwell on machine learning alone. Do things yourself. Cook yourself. Sometimes it's not every time you use blender. Use your mortar and grind your pepper and use it to make your sauce for your yam. Everything should not be artificial, even though we are learning artificial intelligence and machine learning. All right. Good to have you guys again today. And see us at the mentorship session. All right. Love you guys. You guys have been fantastic. You guys have been wonderful. All right. Take care. Bye.